My name is Brian Hughes. I'm with Lifestyle Screens. Excuse me. We manufacture the Lifestyle Screens. It's a patented product. It comes in, it's a single panel garage door system that works in conjunction with your primary garage door. And it comes in several different sizes. It comes anywhere from 18 for 8-foot tall models. It comes in anywhere from 18 foot wide to 8 foot wide. And our 7-foot models is the same width range. It's 18 from 8 foot. And then we also offer what we call our golf cart door, which is available in a 6-foot by 7-foot tall. Today we're going to go ahead and show you a little bit about the frame assembly and let's see. There you go. And on your frame, when you're opening your frame box, our system comes in a 3-box system. There's a hardware box, a screen and track box, and there's also a frame box. Your frame box consists of all your extrusions. Your screen and track box, it'll consist of all your screens, your retractable, your tracks, and your spline. When opening up your frame box, what you want to do is you'll see that your longest extrusions will always be your horizontal extrusions. So what you want to do is take them out. They're already orientated in the box, just as they should be laid out. Your top extrusions are going to be your top extrusion is going to be the extrusion with the weather seal in it. And what I like to do is go ahead and orientate these face down, with all your spline grooves are going down to the sawhorse. And during your, I didn't cover this, but during your installation, you have 3 major steps. Your first major step is going to be your frame bag, and your second one is your track bag, and your third one is your counterbalance bag. And you should never have any more than 1 bag open at any given time. The bags are set up in the manner you do your installation. So the first bag you want to open will be your frame bag. And in that frame bag, your first thing you want to grab is your 16 foot, or not 16 foot, your 16 4-inch screws. And these are what's going to fasten the center verticals to your horizontals. And the vertical frame members that you'll be using, that you'll be grabbing first, are the 2 without the weather strip. And you can see here you have 2 with the weather strip. Those are your outer verticals. And what I like to do is when I'm installing the center verticals is go ahead on the opposite side that you're working on. Is just go ahead and insert you some screws, and it'll work as a helping hand to you, so when you can fasten the opposite side. And all that's going to do is just allow you to lay that on the screw. And what I'm fastening into here, I don't know if you can show it, But the screws are going through the horizontals into the screw bosses into the vertical extrusion. And also you want to make sure when you're putting these extrusions, you want all your spline grooves at this time to be facing down because we're working on the back of the door. Oop. So I get it in there. Sometimes it's best to go ahead and just go ahead and thread it by hand and then go ahead and drive it on. I forgot to tell you, you probably might want to wear earplugs here. Yes, once you have these set, you can go ahead and place the remaining screws in. Again, you want to make sure that you realize that when you pulled your extrusions out, you had that is going to be the top of the door, the lifestyle sticker and the weather seal will decipher that. You have your two pull straps, as you can see on this model here. Once it's in the horizontal position, these allow the person, if they're vertically challenged, they can reach the door and pull the door down. And what I like to do is go ahead and thread them by hand about 1 inch down and use the outer hole, or the outer hole on the back of the door, closest to the back of the door. Once that's done, you're gonna assemble your two outer verticals, and those are going to be the verticals with the weather seal. And what you want to do with them is you want to go ahead and orientate them before you lay them on the table. The top and bottom brackets have to be fastened to these two frame members before they go onto the frame. If not, you won't be able to insert the backer plate into the vertical if you mount that. So go ahead and orientate these in the opposite pairs. And when you're positioning them on the table, position them with a weather strip facing away from one another. You got your backer plates, and on your wheel brackets, you go ahead and position. These are your bottom wheel brackets, which do not pivot. Your top wheel brackets will always be your pivot brackets. So you always position your wheel out to the outside of the weather strip. All you're doing is building two opposite pairs of outside vertical frame members. Now this way you can't go wrong as far as the way you don't have one down there. You want to always when you position these opposite pairs, you want to put both of your bottom brackets on this end and both of your top brackets on the opposite end. You just want to just snug these for now, because that way you can flush them up and align them with the main frame there. And you're going to do the same thing for the opposite end. Yeah, these will be your pivots. And you can't go wrong. I mean, as far as the way you're mounting these on there, the bolt pattern won't line up unless you absolutely have it correct. So there's no room for error here when you're mounting these brackets. Insert your backer plate and just lay your bracket on top. And I think everybody can see what I meant by, mounting these brackets to your vertical first. Because if I mounted these brackets to the horizontal, I wouldn't be able to access the inside of this tubing. And you just want to snug these up. That way you can make your final adjustment once you put your two frame members onto your main frame. And we'll torque them down once I get them there.
What I was talking about, the pivot bracket.
The pivot bracket is your top bracket. And once you decipher which horizontal is your top by your weather strip, you always position your pivot brackets to the top of the door. And make sure your weather strip's going to come about 1 inch long. So go ahead, right while you have it up here, you want to just flush one end up with your weather seal, and then cut the opposite end off. Now this frame here we're working on is the 8x7. It's grab your remainder backer plates and go ahead and do the same as insert your backer plate, and then bolt your brackets to the main frame. And right here is important to go ahead and line your bracket up. That's why I left this top one, or these two on the vertical loose, so you can align everything where it's flush with the horizontal and the vertical frame member. Once you have those aligned, go ahead and torque everything down. Go ahead and do the same for the other 4 corners. All right. We're watching them up. Try to roll that cord in the spline. Then you want to flush the bracket up, flush with the vertical. And go ahead and torque it down. Yep. All right, next what you're going to want to do is you're going to install your magnets in the top. Your magnets, when the door closes, the magnets actually stick to the jamb. So these are like 20-pound magnets, so when your door goes down into the closed position, your striker plate that's on the jamb inside will stick to your magnet will stick to that, your metal plate. And when installing these, what you're going to want to do is make sure the magnet is positioned with the angles to the front of the door and using the front T-slot. And you're going to hold both your fingers on the screws, because if you don't, the screw will spin and you'll lose it and you'll wind up having to just go ahead and take it all the way back out. And when you're tightening these, very rarely you're going to use the adjustment on the rest of the leg, so it's best just to go ahead and push the magnet all the way up and tighten it down, and be sure not to over tighten it. The only time you'll use that adjustment is if you get to an install and your weather seal is rammed a little bit recessed back into the jamb. You'll have to loosen the screw and let the magnet reach out and hit the striker plate. Now you will have to assemble these. These don't come pre-assembled like this. I did this just to save a little bit of time on installing this frame.
With the door that has a 3-inch track on it?
Yes, it can. The question was that can this door be installed with a 3-inch track? And the answer to that is yes. Get this. Goodness. All right, once you have your magnets positioned in, when you're installing these magnets, regardless whether it's a 16, an 8 foot door, a 9 foot door, always slide your magnets to the center of the bay, and that's where it'll be positioned. That's just a rule of thumb that we use when we're doing installs. Once you have I did skip a step here. What this is here, you're going to want to put this the photo eye blocker. What this does is when the lifestyle is down in this place, it's blocking the photo eye and telling the garage door opener that something's there. And it's by doing that, it's disabling the garage door, so you can never get both doors hung up and caught up in the same position, or they'll never be able to. The garage door can't come down on top of the lifestyle. That's typically where I usually position it, about 1 inch up, and on the inside preferably. If you mount it on the outside, this tends to bow out a little bit, and it'll get caught up between the tracks and the tight radius there. Bottoms. And now we're going to go ahead and, this is the bottom of the door, so we're going to be inserting the bottom seal. And you have 2 T-slots at the bottom. It's best to go ahead and spray these T-slots about every foot. Maybe, a real quick dab of silicone. So when you're sliding this astragal down, it helps it slide with ease. I don't have a hammer. Next, what I'd like to do is, once you get your astragal in, is to go ahead and cap one end, and then you can push. Now in the garage door industry, a lot of guys like to roll their bottom seal around. Sorry, but they like to roll their bottom seal around. In this product here, you can't do that. What will happen is the bottom seal will get caught between the jamb and the door, and it causes your door to not operate properly. So in order to get around that, what I like to do is to put this one end cap on, and then cut the astragal about 1 inch long, and then force the rest of it in with your cap. That way, when it gets hot and cold, and if it does shrink, you have that extra inch already inside there. your T-slots are utilized up here with your magnets in them. You can go ahead and insert your caps here. If you've never been around the screening at all, you're going to want to pay close attention here while I'm doing the screening process, because that is one of the parts of this that our installers are most challenged with, is the screening aspect. And what you'll get in your screen and track kits, you'll get 2 pieces of screen cut specifically for that in particular door that you ordered, and it'll be cut to the horizontal width. So as you pull it off the roll, each end of the roll that's in your kit will be your stock edge. I like to start at the bottom of the door and use it, because that way I can line the stock edge of the screen up with the edge of the extrusions. Up there you have the weather seal, which doesn't allow you to do that. We have the screen system, or the screen clips that you can utilize to do this, that you can purchase from your distributor or wherever you're purchasing the door. And what these clips allow you to do is to actually place the whole bay and then insert the clip. Now at the bottom here, you want to hold that even, and once you insert the clip, let go of the back so it takes the screen from the outer edge. And once you have those corners clipped, you can go to the opposite end. And here's another important part, is you want to make sure your screen is square with the frame. And you can see that's incorrect there. But when I reposition it, I can find where that screen is perpendicular with that other, or parallel with that other side. And you just take your clip, place it, let go of the back, and clip it in. And what you're going to, when you're pulling this, you want to pull it as tight as you can. And anytime you're placing a clip on the opposite end of the frame, you want to put it directly across from another clip. Now this way you can, when you get ready to roll, you can see when I start to roll this screen that you're going to be able to free both hands up. And you're not going to have to pull or tug on the screen whatsoever. And right now, if you see something you don't like, right now is the best time to fix it. Because that way you can, you don't have to remove any spline or anything. If you don't like the way this corner looks, you can reposition this clip and pull it the opposite direction. But typically that's what you want to see right there. There's going to be hips and valleys, but once you insert the spline, the rest of that's going to be taken out. So before I go back to the bottom that I started at when I lined my margin up, or my edge of my stock edge, you want to pre-roll. When you pre-roll, you're going to be inserting your spline underneath. There's a lip on the inner portion of this frame all the way around, and you're going to tuck that spline underneath that and then roll the outer edge. Now this screen here I'm working with is it's a standard screen, and it uses a 310 spline. But you can see the technique that I'm using there, that I'm just pushing the spline forward. But there is if you were dealing with a super screen or a pet screen or a privacy, those types of screens have to be rolled in a different manner. And what we call this is the back roll. Which what I was doing is I was just pushing forward. So what happens is when you're compressing that spline in there, it's growing and it's trying to push the screen forward along with it. So what you're going to want to do is roll over it 2 inches, not inserting the spline, but just placing it and then push down and then push the spline back in. That way you keep the spline in the same place while you're rolling it. Again, this right here is just for a standard screen. You just push it forward. And the other one is you want to roll over it 2 inches, push down, and then roll it back into the spline groove. There's pre-roll. You can notice I'm not pulling on the screen, I'm not tugging on it, it's placing the screen. Also with a privacy screen, I rolled the screen in this direction. You're going to want to, when you roll the privacy screen, you're going to want to roll your splines in the same directions. Your two horizontals, you're going to roll those that direction, and then when you roll your verticals, you're going to roll them this way. Both of them together. Because what will happen is if you do shift your screen, you're shifting your whole screen to one direction instead of one direction. Shifting that side this way and then this side the other way. Then you really have problems. When you're trimming, you want to make sure when you're trimming your screens, what I like to do is go ahead and get down eye level on it and do an inspection, because if you do have a bubble, say if you got a bubble right here in the middle, all you have to do is just pull the back of the spline and that'll lift your spline out, and then reinsert, and then start from the center of the place or the area that you pulled it out and roll each direction. And you can remove that bubble instead of taking the whole entire spline out. Also, it's a good idea to take the skinny portion. The part I was using to roll the spline is the concave. It's the wider edge, so that concave will ride on the outer edge of that spline. So it's better, just go ahead and flip your tool over and go around it one more time to make sure your spline is fully inserted. So if you don't, if you've got a part that's up above the lip here, what it's going to do is it's going to make your knife come out and damage your frame. I usually like to start in the corner when I'm trimming the screen and cut both directions. And you're going to have a part left here that you're going to have to just fillet off. And if you give it a little bit of tension and pull it, it'll make a nice clean cut across that section. And this is the part you're going to really take your time at, because you just spent a lot of time rolling it in, especially if you're new to screening. But if you use the screen clips in the manner I did right here, you shouldn't have any problem. We have guys that's been installing this product for almost a year, and it's the screen clips. And once they found the screen clips, they said it's almost knocked off 45 minutes off of their screening process. So they're like, "Why didn't you tell me about that a long time ago?" And that there, we're only going to run one side, the screen one side today. Again, this is the Lifestyle screen it's a single panel garage screen door system that works in conjunction with your primary door. Only one door can be down at any given time, but both of them can be up stored in the horizontal position. It's the Lifestyle is the only door that offers the door in the door option on the screen door. So what it allows you to do is if you have friends come over, they're in and out in a matter of a second. They only have to open up 21 square feet versus if it was a 16 by 7, you're looking at about 112. Well, once this door is in place, the photo eye blocker, which I installed, the black tab, once that's in place, that's blocking the photo eye, disabling the garage door. All the Lifestyle units are all fully counterbalanced. There's no electrical motors, nothing to fail. It's also, I've heard it's great when the power goes out, because they can still hang out in their garage.